Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the established 1982 podcast, the Geek Culture Podcast, hosted by responsibly irresponsible adults that have loved video games, comic books, movies, and TV ever since 1982. This is your boy, the Lawnsman Wally Analog, and I'm joined by my homie, who is the gatekeeper of civility and order, Rose Royce.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And we are without our wish come true wish window. As you know, she has a very active calendar. She'll be missed. She really want to talk about this type of subject matter. But in her absence, we have the smartest man in Tennessee, and probably even more so. I know that's high praise, but I really regard this man's opinion on everything as gospel truth. The only one that could make me sit down and watch all of Stranger Things, Van Everett, host of the Scenario Radio Show. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, man. It's good to be on the show again. I hate that I don't get a chance to finally link up and meet Wish Kid Jones. But,
that's going to happen
next time.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen because I've seen the conversation that you've had on the on Facebook group, and they've been very thoughtful. And I watched the tennis match back and forth. Sometimes y'all agree, sometimes you don't, but they're always very interesting and entertaining conversations, and especially entertaining when other people chime in, and it just really gets crazy. But yours is quite often the catalyst for all thoughtful and insightful conversations. So welcome again into the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about The Boys. My God, sir. They've not missed. This was the third season. They've not missed. If any of you can name one episode where they've missed, please tell me, because I don't know that I've seen an episode that was like, that was unnecessary. Yeah. That felt like filler. I've not seen any. So we're going to talk about this, boys, because not only is it an expose into human nature, but they touching on some more so than ever this season on some really relevant themes and topics, such that we had to bring our man Van in here to give his perspective on this. So I don't even know what to say.
You want me to?
Yeah, please, because when Van starts talking, I'm going to be quiet. You won't hear much from me. When Van, he read the phone book and I listen.
I'm gonna try to be as I'll try not to speechify too much.
No, please.
Admittedly, you got to understand. I don't get to do this on my show that often.
That's what I'm saying. So please, we giving you the free reign, carte blanche, as it were, to do what you do. So, but
I always get excited when I get to talk with you guys.
Man, as do we. Rose, now what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying I was going to give a quick synopsis.
Please do. As is custom, Rose Royce will give us a synopsis of this season, this phenomenal season. We're just going to go ahead and say that we all loved it. Now let's just continue.
Right. So basically season 3 starts, we basically jump a year from season 2, and the boys are working with Victoria Newman and the Bureau of Superhero Affairs, and they basically are apprehending soups that they deem problematic. And also, they've, I guess, have like a truce with the Seven.
Yes.
Like a unspoken truce with the Seven. Mm-hmm. So there's not conflict between the boys and the Seven during this period of time.
Mm-hmm. It's a bit of ceasefire, I guess, is the word.
Right. But when Butcher got wind of Soldier Boy, and I think that's when the conflict starts to unravel. Like he realizes that Soldier Boy was killed, but there is rumors that he's still alive, and he would basically be the hero killer, the soup killer.
Yes. Now to be clear, this is not Soldier Boy. Tell him.
Right.
Well, if you're unclear,
right,
not that guy.
Right. So it was basically Vaught's. I mean, if you think about Captain America and the Marvel's MCU, this is the boys' version of Captain America, which you got to know there's some dirt going down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they make some strong statements about our country. So yeah. So anyway, Butcher is trying. He really wants to kill Homelander for good. So he's trying to find Soldier Boy, and in the midst of trying to find Soldier Boy, he also got hand of some, I guess what you would call temporary V. Which was pretty well introduced in the, at the very beginning. I like how they did that with my man, right,
Giancarlo. Man, can we get that man his flowers? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So anyway, Butcher uncharacteristically takes the V to become a soup, which is. I think that got explored, this season too.
Yes. How far will you go to level the playing field?
Right. So anyway, 2 members of the Seven, Starlight and Queen Maeve, they've been, working with the boys secretly to try to take down Homelander. So that's pretty much the crux of the season. We'll get into Mother's Milk and his story arc and that kind of deal, but that's pretty much the synopsis. Let's get Soldier Boy and let's use him to kill Homelander. And mayhem ensues, pretty much.
Yes. He's so much like Captain America in so many ways, right?
Right.
The whole gone for 30, 40 years and,
right.
and then having to come back, reawaken to a
Frozen
world where he does not understand anything, like stuff like the internet and just kind of like what we were exposed to in First Avenger.
Right.
Was it First Avenger? No. Was that Winter Soldier? Which one did they had?
Well, it's
either way. Chris Evans came out and he was just.
It was Winter Soldier. I mean, it was Winter Soldier. Right. They dived into it, but I think it was like an end credit scene where he.
Right. He was like, "What's going on?" Right. Okay. So it's kind of that
Times Square. Like, man, what is this?
Right. Exactly. So this guy is Soldier Boy. He's got a shield, and he's America's champion. His backstory is one that is littered with his heroics in wars. Historic war. Right. Vietnam and all that type of stuff, and he's responsible for doing this and doing that, and they take actual history,
with racism and privilege. Half of the victories weren't even.
And that's correct.
Yeah, this dude rolled up after the victory,
right? And for the photo op, but in order to paint the picture,
correct,
the way that America does, right? They do that in order to prop up his brand and Vaught's brand and things of that nature. So it gets really heavy, and then of course you got all the side stories of the A trains and the Hueys, and again, like you were saying, and it just gets really, really complicated, and their ability to. There's so many characters, even with Kamiko. And there's just so many
Frenchie.
characters. Yeah, and they're able to keep them all woven together, and it's not all over the place. And there's no story that they cut to that you're like, wrap it up. Let's move on to the next.
Every character is developed.
Every character is developed, and they're intertwined, and they're all interesting.
Right.
I don't think I've seen a series that's been able to flesh out so many characters at once since Game of Thrones.
Correct.
They're very much. Game of Thrones still has way more characters, but I mean they do a lot with that many characters to make you, like you said, care about them, and also make their stories all work. Like you understand whether you dislike or like the character as a person, you get a deeper understanding about each of the characters, and then that's impressive.
Yeah, very, very much so. So, Van, this is the type of show that gets your wheels turning.
Yeah,
obviously,
no doubt.
being the person that you are, right? So, what? And I guess this is the best way to try to get into some of the themes that they cover, because a lot of what's going on, they made sure that they held a mirror up to society through this show, and to the point where it annoyed some people. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, American society.
Yes, but nobody hates a mirror more than an ugly person. So if you don't like it, it's probably because you've taken a look at yourself, and that's how you know The Boys is working, right? Because it's getting through to people who may or may not have wanted to have their politics mixed in with their superhero show.
Right.
And not really understanding. Like, there was actually a misunderstanding as to what kind of dude Homelander was in the in a certain community.
Wow.
You didn't know that this was this dude. But again, I digress. Van, so what were some of the themes in particular that were most compelling to you and thought-provoking to you?
Like you said, every season they strike a note with different themes, and of course, there's always the overarching theme. And at risk of sounding like a communist, the overarching theme is always capitalism.
Yes,
and it's always like everything that's going on is because the corporation. The biggest villain, obviously, is the corporation. Yes, in the whole thing, and how they find a way to commodify everything. Mm-hmm. No matter what happens, they'll figure out a way. But I would say this season, as it unfolded, is the idea of how fascism gets embraced. That's one of the that was a huge theme. Yes. And it's like the way that they do it, because I know some people probably see it and think, well, that was kind of just in your face and everything's like, yeah, but if anybody knows what it looks like to see in your face fascism get embraced, it's us. So I don't see it's not really like we should argue about it.
Right.
Maybe 20 years ago we would be like, well, no, that would only happen in subtle ways. It's like, no, it wouldn't, apparently.
No.
So
not now.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Right.
That was definitely a big one. Another thing that I thought was really cool that didn't really open up until like the very end was the whole idea of fathers and sons or fathers and families. Yes. Like this idea of how the way that you're raised and what you're being taught by the person who's supposed to be molding you has you reacting the same way over and over and over again. Even when you know that's what's going on, even when you should know better, you can't seem to stop. You get Homelander, who obviously doesn't have a father. He finds out he has one biologically.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but he doesn't have one, he wasn't raised. He was raised by a corporation.
Correct.
Who didn't care for him and didn't love him. And this desire to be loved overwhelms him. Even when he has the upper hand, he'll end up, and Stan Edgar knew it. It was like,
yes.
No, you're going to mess this up because you need a father.
Right.
So, yeah. But how that keeps coming up, it came up with him. It affects the way Soldier Boy ends up doing what he does. It even affects the way that Huey, decides the course that he decides to take. And he talks about it in the final, episode, Mother's Milk,
Butcher,
and him being a
Butcher
father.
Too.
Yeah, Butcher.
When they went into his background, that was heavy.
Yeah, that theme, and it's crazy how that theme was happening, and you didn't realize it was happening until you get to the latter part of the season.
Get to the end of it, yeah. Man, yeah.
Yeah, so those two of the biggest ones. Of course, if you know me, you know what I lean toward with my own show.
Correct.
Obviously, A-Train's story is an interesting, is a very interesting take. Very interesting take.
Man.
I would love to see that writer's room because they did some things that only somebody who understands would do with A-Train. And it's like, there was when A-Train was with his brother, the last time he was with his brother and him and his brother, who is his father figure again, they're having their dispute, and his brother is like, well, you can just go back to advertising menthols and cash, and fast cash places.
Whatever.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like that wasn't, only somebody who knows to put that line in there. Yeah.
Right. They even had a sign. It's like if you didn't catch it, it was off to the side in one of the scenes, and it was in the corner, A-Train menthols, and you had to really be quick to catch it, and you have to be black to understand that we love our menthol cigarettes.
It looked like the cool cigarette, like the cools, a pack of cools.
And it's funny because we can laugh at ourselves, right? It's like, even if a white guy wrote that, that's funny. That's funny. I can appreciate that. Like, I'm not all up in arms and you're a racist. It's facts. It's facts, and that's the type of stuff we do.
But it's again, even the humor, even beyond the humor of it, it's again showing how that his race was being commodified to be used against the people that he claims to want to help.
Right.
You know, it's like sell them the things that are worse for them because they'll buy it from you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Capitalism, the biggest. Yeah.
And also his motivation to help was self-serving,
and it always was. His brother made that point. Everything that you do is about yourself,
right?
Self-preservation, all the time. But he's like in this denial. He feels like if it looks like or feels like if it's for somebody else, I can disguise it. When he was right. It was everything he does was self-serving,
right?
Yeah, which is
terrible.
kind of in the black community. That suit was awful. back to the motherland suit or whatever he called it. But that's what we do. We tend to be selfish to a degree, right? Like, I think that was kind of a peek into our culture,
right?
Why we can't seem to get out of our own way because we're too, what's the Tupac and Ray? You got to get mine, you got to get yours.
Right.
I mean, that's our mentality. I got to get mine. Us four and no more, right? Your family and, that's it. I'm not worried about anybody else to the detriment of your surrounding community and greater community. So it was just a myriad themes in the show that just had me just holding my head in amazement. And then, they wrap it around superheroes and they fighting. It's
right.
everything.
Right.
It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Game of Thrones, Van. That was a show that had everything. It had, the drama. It had the cloak and dagger. It had the battles and the fights and the action.
Politics.
And it had the politics. And it had romance. It had everything that you need to get everybody in. I remember Game of Thrones was a show, and I'm derailing a little bit, but I'm trying to draw the parallel. It was one of the first shows that I remember all walks of life watching this show. I would be at work and it would be like, the white woman and the black man and the old woman and, it's everybody of all ages and race and gender just watching this show and all sharing the same interest. And I'm like, how do you do that? But that's what you do. You include these elements, but then the trick is weaving it all into a cohesive and coherent and sensible story. And this is like you said, Van, I need to see that writer's room. They're not talking enough about these people. Because it's
up there with the Watchmen writers room.
Yes, it is.
It's up there with the writer.
In the Watchmen room, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would put this season probably, as far as the superhero genre of television, this is the best thing so far in 2022.
That is correct. That is correct.
Like maybe Peacemaker's probably right behind it.
Right. Yes, I would say that.
The best thing so far.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
And to speak to what you're talking about, what it is simply is the idea that they care about writing good characters first. They care about telling these human stories, because really that's all. If you think about it, everything that you ever watched that was really good, that stayed with you for the longest span of time, it was just a story, a good story about a character. And you can superimpose whatever you want over the top of that. But you have to start there. You just have to start there. And that's what they do. I mean, if we watched Homelander now for 3 seasons, and the more you watch him, the more compelling he is as a character.
Yes.
He's evil. He's psychotic. But you
understand.
At this point, yeah, exactly. You understand. You sympathize with what is going on there. That this doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Right.
And yeah, obviously. Now I will say this: when we talk, what I've come to realize when you should watch shows like this is they do have the advantage of that there are no toys to sell. And there are no There's nothing.
Yes.
There's no products behind it,
Yes.
and there will be no rides built for Soldier Boy at a park anywhere. They can.
Amazon
they can invest
take
in the
care
story.
of that anyway.
Right, yeah, right. You're not right. Amazon got everything else.
We got that handled.
Y'all
do this stuff.
You're buying
over here.
everything else from us.
Yes,
You're actually buying Spider-Man toys from us.
Yes. Just put the logo at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're good.
Right. You draw that arrow. You know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Invincible
So at
season
least
2 coming soon.
Oh man.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Mm-hmm.
They on a
So
run.
that gives us a chance to have such great characters and things of that nature. One of the interesting things to me that has come out of this. What do you two think about Billy Butcher? By the end of this, what are your thoughts about Billy Butcher as a person? Had they shifted any? Do you see him any differently, or do you still see him as the same as you started?
Well, here's the thing, man. What I've found about human nature, is that you're going to be who you are, unless something comes along and dictates that you absolutely must change for the sake of survival. And I feel like that's what we got when he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go against what I thought my value system was and take this V. He's slowly becoming my favorite character, just because, to your point, Van, you were talking about how you have come 3 seasons with a person and they fleshed out a person. The nightmare, what was the guy's name that they were hunting out there in the woods that took gosh, what was his name? Mind something. Well, I forgot what it was. Anyway,
yeah,
the guy takes over he puts you in a coma, and then you just have this endless nightmare of all your bad, most worst memories until you just die. And so that was brilliant to use that to give us the history and this dude's origin story. And it was some of the most compelling television. But I don't know that he'll ever change who he is after having watched his entire life, right? Like, this dude is pretty much, like you were saying, Van, like, you have been shaped into this person. This is who you're going to be. Now, I'm interested in seeing the way it ended. Mm-hmm. They were intimating that, look, this needs to be more of an inclusive, for lack of a better word, democratic kind of way of running the boys, instead of everybody listening to Butcher. Do what I say, right? But I don't know that Butcher can do that.
He's not wired that way.
Exactly.
And he's not, now that he has a death sentence, pretty much, they said you only have like, he's not going to follow.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't have time.
Right. So that might very well amplify who he is, because
yeah, and the thing that echoes with Butcher is, like, all of his life he's had to step up and be the strong one. Mm-hmm. And he has to step up and protect the weak, like his brother. So his dad was just
terrible,
incorrigible,
awful.
Right?
Yeah.
Awful, So like, I felt sympathy for him, especially when they were going through that, because it's like you can see the relationship between Butcher and Huey. Like it's almost like he needs Huey to feed the necessity to protect and do things by any means necessary.
Right, as a result of him failing to help his brother.
Right, and it's almost like he's overcompensating.
Right, and he does it in his weird way. I mean, he knocked dude out just to protect. He does some very aggressive means to whatever end.
And even with Mother's Milk, that was interesting too.
Yeah,
to see
let me go ahead and give you this good Mickey and put you to sleep. And
let's not miss that. Like, Mother's Milk was just like breaking it down for him. Like, you are taking. You're not a man of honor. You're not a man of your word. Like you're not following the code. You taking this temp V.
It's Magneto, Professor X.
Right.
It's like we need to do this, but we need to do it this way. No, it's too gangster out here. We need to be more aggressive.
Level the
it's
playing
Martin,
field.
It's Martin Malcolm.
Right.
It's like we can't, do it this way anymore.
Yeah, I would even go as far as to say it's beyond even that, because for Butcher, the thing is, I think that what we keep seeing unfold when we watch Butcher at work is that Butcher is, for all intents and purposes, not very different from Homelander.
Not at all. He's the same dude.
Yeah, he's a product of his trauma.
Yes,
is what he is. He's a product of his trauma. And so when you see, like one of you mentioned a moment ago, him and this idea of this value system that he originally he claims to have, you realize that no, he doesn't have a value system. He wants to have a value system, but the only thing he values is what he feels at that time. Mm-hmm. So superpowers automatically make you evil. His whole idea for the first 2 seasons is the same thing that Zemo, the premise that Zemo laid out in the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. That to have these powers makes you automatically a supremacist, because it means that you believe you should be able to have this say over everybody else's lives.
And Homelander proved it out.
Yeah, and so he kept saying that was his idea, but the minute that he had access to that power, that he could use it to his ends, that he feel like all of a sudden his means are justified.
Yeah,
he did it.
Yeah, and he killed.
And so
he enjoyed it. You could tell he enjoyed it.
He didn't have no problem.
Right.
Yeah, because
he was pushed. He wasn't going to kill him, but then once he got pushed, he's like, well,
he went on ahead and lasered him up in the parking garage. Like, you gotta go.
Yeah. So it's nothing about. There's nothing about him that, like both of you said, there's nothing really about him that would indicate that he really has a value system, or that at the end of this he's going to walk away, because he hasn't healed, and healing isn't even on his agenda.
No.
Winning is on his agenda.
That's right.
Yeah. So how all that will go will be really interesting, as far as how he relates to the boys. All of these people who are right in front of him at the end of the season, all of them have healed in some kind of way.
Right.
They all of them are better than they were when they started that season. They understand something about themselves that they did not understand before the season started, and they want to be different. And he does not want to be different. That in and of itself is going to be an interesting conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Can we talk about Mother's Milk for a minute?
Yeah.
Like, the thing that really, I guess, impressed me about the show was, I think in Black culture, we don't talk about trauma at all, like within the family, right? So, like, when he got triggered and beat down the stepdad. Frenchie
he earned it.
He earned it.
He earned that beat.
But he was already a ticking. He was a ticking time bomb.
Right.
He was going to explode. At some point, because he's holding all this trauma in, and
he still got twitches.
Yeah, and that's the OCD.
Yeah,
and I love how they explained the OCD, and I was like, this is beautiful.
It was brilliant. Yeah,
and
we went 3 seasons before we even learned.
Exactly. We didn't have to get all of it
right
at one time. You were just like, okay, that's weird. That dude's straightening up forks and, like dusting stuff off.
Right.
Even when Queen Maeve had her feet up and they were dirty because she'd been walking around, his face was just like
your feet are
dirty. Your feet are dirty. I just need to clean this up, but I can't because your feet are just, I'm going to leave. But anyway, long story short, I love the scene or the sequence where Frenchie was like, you need to share with your daughter what you're struggling with.
Yeah.
She'll be able to handle it if you explain it to her.
That moment was heavy, man.
Yeah, and then when I almost teared up.
Listen.
Yeah.
I didn't have much left, bro. It was rough. That and when he talked to his daughter and shared about
this
his
is your grandfather,
bro,
and this is how he, it's like, man,
yeah, man.
And he was talking he was sharing some heavy stuff,
right?
But the daughter in him sharing that, she could understand
right.
where
And she accepted it, man. She was
Right.
like, you still my dad, and that's what every father wants, especially when they talking to their daughter, right? Like,
Right.
because you don't, it's something about your daughter, right?
Right.
Like, and so that is why that particularly touched me also. So yeah, his character arc has been, as we said, amazing. And he's no different from any of the other characters. We've gotten full, expos into these people's lives.
Right. Yeah, that writing was beautiful there.
It was.
Like,
it was, man. It was.
Yeah.
And black fatherhood, right?
Yes.
Like that is the thing.
Yes.
That is too often misrepresented.
Right.
Too often they show the stereotypical, and it was good to see
Right.
somebody that is really doing everything that he can to be the best that he can be, even if it meant hiding some stuff which was a detriment.
Right.
And like you said, Rose, that scene was necessary.
Right.
To let him know that you don't have to do that. You're the best man that I know.
Right.
And that was heavy for him.
Right. And then also too, like you talked about black fatherhood, I think what people don't understand is in that moment he's saying, okay, I was wrong.
Right.
But I'm also letting you know that the world, unfortunately, I have to tell you, in order for me to protect you, I have to tell you that this world is not, it's not,
it's not green grass,
and
unicorns,
rainbows.
right.
Right. Yeah. And that was heavy.
Yep.
And even showing his ex-wife, even showing support, like,
Yeah,
hey,
like,
I know you're carrying this weight and you gotta figure it out, And that was some beautiful stuff. And then the shirts that he wears, the t-shirts, man, like I loved every bit of those
strong
t-shirts.
Game.
Yeah,
strong game.
Yeah, and he was basically saying in an interview, I forgot which, I think it was like Vibe magazine or something, where he was talking about the reason why he was wearing the t-shirts, and he said, that he was representing for the culture, hip hop culture was his armor, his superpower.
Yeah.
The Supes have their outfits and stuff like
That's
that.
interesting.
So he said something clever about that, but you can find that article. I think it's in Vibe magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Laz Alonso talking about the character.
Yes. Which kid showed a particular interest in his shirts? Probably more so what was in the shirt.
Yeah.
Yes. She had a great appreciation.
Yes. He puts in work in the gym.
Yes, he does.
Something that I don't do.
No.
Which is sad.
It's all good.
I need to start doing my push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or you can just step your shirt game up and try to just let it be what it is.
Let it do what it do.
Will not get noticed. Won't get noticed.
It's all right, man. We happily married with a family.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe my wife will notice one day. Anyway.
But yeah, MM.
Yes.
Interesting character. Man, let's okay. You mentioned one of you guys mentioned Homelander. Ben, I think it was you talking about him throughout the 3 seasons. I find his character compelling now that we are now in full. I can shoot somebody dead in the middle of Fifth Avenue and will not lose my supporters. We're there now.
Yes.
We are all the way in, and it's interesting. And Van, I believe you were the one that highlighted something in particular, that if they do things so subtly in this show, and I completely missed this. The vault shaman. You pointed this out on the on the Facebook group chat, and you highlighted them. The parallels are, I guess you could say, on the nose. If I can be oxymoronic and say kind of discreetly on the nose, a little bit, because the way that they did so many things, and the way that they show you how someone can get swept up in a movement that is, almost cult-like, right? And how they can come to believe what you believe as one that's driving the engine. The similarities are not by accident, obviously, and I find it compelling that someone with that amount of power knows they have that amount of power, has expressed that he's better than you, and yet you still somehow relate to him. So that apparently is the formula of a successful cult leader, right? Be someone who is a narcissist, thinks and believes that they are more than you, and can still bring the masses of the poor and downtrodden over to your side. And that's amazing to me. So now the arc is this. Okay, you mentioned that he wanted to be loved and he told the line. Now it's just like, I'm free. I know what I can get away with. I know it, and now I'm completely dangerous. He's like, release the airline tape. I don't care. I'm gonna take this dude. I'm gonna take this dude's wig off in public. I don't care.
That's eerie.
So at what point, like, can this dude be stopped at this juncture? Like, there's no limit now. Who can be in opposition other than maybe Soulja Boy, because he's still on the table. Soulja Boy is still on the table. Which makes season 4 for me so much more anticipated. Like I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ask, in what direction do you feel like they can or will go now, Van?
And keep in mind too, and not to cut you off, Van, Victoria Newman is running.
She's the running because they had that dude killed. Yes, right. Now she's the vice presidential candidate,
and her and
has
Homelander
an agenda. Yeah.
So,
but it felt like she was just using him to get something. I don't know how. You see what I'm saying?
That's still bad. I mean,
there's still an agreement there. So Van, what do you feel like direction? What direction can they go in, or what do you feel like they could or should? Like, what?
I think the thing that they get to show us now is one, we get to see what it looks like when people give in to their worst impulses. One, you get your Homelander, who will give in to his worst impulses because now he's encouraged to give in to his worst impulses. I mean, he recognizes that they love him for him being who he is.
Right.
And because they believe that even though he's even said he's better than them,
yes,
he's on our side. And people always think that it's okay. People talk about freedom, but people most of the time don't actually want freedom. They just want the freedom to do what they want to do, then the freedom to oppress everyone else.
Right.
So, but the thing is that Homelander's kryptonite is still the same kryptonite. His desire to be loved is still the same.
Yes.
And he wants to be loved, and even eventually all the adulation he's getting now won't be enough because it's not real.
Right.
They don't love him for him. They love him for what they think he can do for them. Yeah. And so all he'd be left with is, of course, his son. And the only problem there is that his other weakness is that he can't love anyone unconditionally, even though that's what he wants. And eventually he'll be the father to his son that he had, which was no father at all. It's the reason Soulja Boy. It's the same reason Soulja Boy couldn't see the idea of, the three of us can just take over the world together now.
He's like, nah,
but because the minute that he recognizes that Homelander is his son, he doesn't see Homelander as an opportunity anymore. He sees him as his own weakness, because that's what his father taught him, that you're a weak man, so only bad things can come from you. So he's only going to treat him the only way that he knows how to treat a son. And that's essentially what you're going to get from Homelander. It's not, again, people that, if you don't heal, then you just keep limping. And he's going to keep limping toward the whatever downfall he has. But now what that downfall will look like, I have no idea. But I know that his desire to be loved and his unwillingness to love is going to, it's going to catch him up at some point or another. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, now we have, I forget her name, running for vice president.
Victoria Newman.
Yeah, Victoria Newman. I think the biggest thing about that situation is what that's going to do to the boys, because they know they have to stop her. They know they have to stop her. She's one head explosion away from the presidency.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Correct.
Yeah, they got the loaded guns.
Right.
Right on the president.
Yeah, so she's right there, and they know that they have to stop her. But the thing is, to what length will they go? Because again, this is a group of people now who are more self-actualized. You've got, Starlight, who realizes that everything about her that makes her special isn't in that suit,
right?
So she doesn't feel that need to be a part of the system anymore. You've got somebody like Huey who's trying to, be more open to working with Starlight. You've got Mother's Milk, who has very high standards about the way that he will go about things, and so they're going to want to do this the right way. But Butcher's still there, and Butcher doesn't even have his own life to worry about anymore. He as far as he knows, he's going to die. So when you take that and you put that against someone who's going to probably, the woman who's probably going to be the vice president or president, that's an ugly thing. So it's going to be a lot of it'll be interesting to see the push and pull that happens with all of those, with those dynamics in play.
Indeed. And I'm here for it. As soon as they come back, and they'll probably get two episodes into season 4 and green light 5. Because that's going
to be the only thing I think that's interesting about all of this is that, again, we've been watching a show that for the first 3 seasons was not encumbered by, let's make sure we can stick around, but now this thing is getting more and more popular, and it's going to be harder. The stakes, they were able to make it happen. They just barely got by this time by making the stakes what they were, and you still being willing to say, oh, that was satisfying. But how many more times can you confront Homelander face to face and he not kill you and it makes sense?
Yes.
So they're gonna have to they'll have to write themselves out of a corner if they do that again. They've done it twice, and you can't reasonably keep doing it.
Right.
So
right.
At some point something will have to give, or else it's going to show that you're writing more for the series than for the characters.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope we don't get to that point, because apparently the easiest way to write Superman is to make that dude deplorable. You just gotta make him bright burn, evil Superman.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's taking.
No one's interested in Boy Scout Superman. They're interested in Omni-Man, and they're interested in Homelander, and that's what they're interested in. Because he's more compelling, I guess, more interesting. That's been a knock on Superman. He's not interesting.
You know what? I don't agree with that. I think the Superman is interesting. I think Superman,
but that's what I've heard people say.
Yeah, but that's because they lack imagination. Think about what Marvel did with Captain America. Captain America, for all intents and purposes, before these movies started, was Superman. Morally, ethically, and in all the ways that matter, he was Superman. He was the standard by which all other superheroes.
Right.
Yeah. But what they had, what they could do with him, they had certain limitations. But they leaned into who he was. And the thing about DC is that they're afraid to lean into who he is. They lack imagination. It's like he is who he is. He is as powerful as he is, but there's a conflict there. You just need to write the character first, and the powers will all work itself out. If the only thing you can think about when you sit down to write Superman is, well, how many buildings can we destroy? Can we find a way to how much can he lift? It's like all of that will work itself out.
Right.
There's a real conflict that happens when you feel the responsibility to take on the world and to try to save the world and to try to be perfect in front of everybody at all times. There's a conflict there, the internal conflict that's well worth writing about. But the people in charge at DC, To be honest, Zack Snyder, who's not somebody who he doesn't think in detail when it comes to emotions. He just doesn't think that way. You're not going to get that. They need somebody who understands nuance. Zack Snyder is not a nuanced
He's
person.
an action guy.
Yeah.
He can do action. He just need a good writer.
The writers on Superman and Lois, I feel, have done a pretty good job and I feel like we're derailing thanks to me.
Yeah.
For writing Superman, because the conflicts are not, they're more human conflicts, right? He's balancing things that
Fatherhood.
Physical strength
Right.
cannot account for,
Exactly.
cannot compensate for. And so when you take that away and challenge him with other things, that's when he gets interesting. But to your point, Van, it's like people are more worried about, well, who are we going to get that's dope enough to stand toe-to-toe with the Man of Steel, right? That's not the issue at hand with Homelander. His issues are all, like, personal.
Yeah, it's all internal.
Mental.
It's all
Yeah,
internal.
yeah.
So it shows you that it can be done. It shows you that it can be done. He's an interesting character. Homelander would be an interesting character if he had no powers. It's just,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You just make an interesting character, then the rest will work itself out. And that's what they did.
That's
exactly
the
what
one.
they did.
That's the one thing that I was kind of wishing that he would have lost his powers. Like Soldier Boy was successful. in taking his powers.
Like he took Maeve's.
Right. Right.
That's an interesting character arc too.
And then also, like, his son has the powers now, so now he's
potentially the new breed of horrible soup.
He's Palpatine, pretty much.
Yes. He's He's young Anakin getting bred up to take over the red saber in the future. It appears because that shot of him after my man, laser dude at the rally, in the crowd, and saw the adoration for his father, even after having killed someone right there in broad daylight. That was a chilling shot.
Yeah,
it
And
was.
he smiled, and he was
like,
excellent. This is what I have to do to get the
Right.
love that I crave, because he craves it too. That's why he so he clung to Homelander. At first, he didn't want anything to do with him. Till Butcher had shunned him, and then Homelander took him in. And so, if this is what I need to do to get this level of love and attention, then
Right.
okay. And so he's learning at an early age to be this bad person.
Right.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because he is someone who was, before this point, raised on love.
Yes.
So
By his mom,
yeah, it sounds like on its surface, obviously any kid who gets, you say you have all the toys you want and eat all the cake you want, they're going to go for it, but eventually they get a stomach ache. And then they want to go back to love. They want to go back to actual love. Once you know actual love, it becomes your North Star, and he's going to want to go back to that, and that's going to be a dividing point between him and Homelander.
That's right.
But it'll take something to get there, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
That might be the next route they need to take to, like you were saying, trying to write this guy in such a way, where it makes sense, and like you were saying, because somebody with that much power, you're not going to be fighting this dude repeatedly and coming out on top, because we've learned that the V kills, so you can't be on that. That was a thing that was testing the moral boundaries of those in the boys, right? Like, how far are you willing to go to level the playing field? Well, they're taking that off the table, so it would be interesting to learn now. I feel like Soldier Boy is their only option, right? Like, they made sure to let you know that he's still down with killing Homelander. Like, he's not trying to be granddaddy. Like, that's not what he's trying to do. He made that clear. And it was crazy because I thought that's what it was going to be. I was like, oh my God, it's about to be Soldier Boy and Homelander. And the brilliance at the end of that finale was that everybody's allegiance changed in about 30 seconds.
Right.
And it was all based on a kid. Protect a kid. And everybody's agenda changed. Everybody whose side they were on, they switched. And it was brilliantly done. Brilliant. Because I didn't expect it. That threw me off. But I thought it was so well written and enjoyable. And it was a fight worthy of a finale. Much unlike what you made a point, Van, that the MCU seems to have a problem with. their finales have been underwhelming. And dare I say that the MCU right now is lagging behind the boys universe. And I said it.
I would agree. I would agree. Again, but they're beholden. They become beholden
That's
to
correct. Get them toys out.
Too many ideas at once. And I don't even think it wouldn't. I don't want to turn this into a Marvel bashing.
Oh,
thing.
please.
But,
go right ahead.
But I
Join
mean,
me.
No.
Join me in this Marvel hate.
Topic is the boys. Topic is the boys, Wally. I demand order. I demand order.
I'm at the gatekeeper of civility here. And
I know. Our voice of reason. Yes.
I tried, man. I tried.
Listen, if nothing else, I listen. I'm a regular listener to you guys' show, so I get to listen to the work, the yeoman's work that Rose has to do sometimes.
And the therapy the therapy sessions I have to go to afterwards.
Which I didn't know I was responsible for his therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, when Wally suggests to a certain section of the public that they should drink bleach with ice.
In a tall, cold glass.
Metaphorical bleach.
No, Clorox. Go ahead.
We want the Clorox to clean out the evil thoughts of
Hey,
racism.
man,
and that's it.
No, death.
No. We don't wish that.
I say all that to say
Yes,
that I'm
thank you.
gonna as much as I find it entertaining when I'm listening to it, I sympathize with Rose, and I'm gonna try to be a good guest.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Goodness. Yes, civility and order. He has he does good work here. Lord knows I need it. Yeah, he keeps me, on a leash, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, the dog run off. Get away.
Oh man, but yeah. So it's good that we're in an era where we get to have things like this that aren't beholden to all the other considerations. You get this show, this inspired, because I mean, even though it's based on a comic book, they took liberties.
Oh wow,
they've taken a lot of liberties to give you something that's not the same.
And that's
as
the
that
challenge.
comic book.
That's the challenge too, because they had to do the same with Walking Dead. Right, so that people that read the comics didn't feel as if they were going into something where I already know what's going to happen. They gave them something, and they gave those who were unfamiliar with the source material something. It's like, and that's hard to do because in a genre where we hold source material in high regard and staying true to the source material, so you have to walk this line where you have to be true to the source material yet change it enough to where, the hardcore aren't upset about it and appreciate it and don't mind the change from the comic book that they are more familiar with, or the graphic novel that they're more familiar with. Like, so it's a tough task, and another reason why these writers need to be applauded more for the work that they've done over 3 seasons and another one to come. Did they say when season 4? They didn't say how long.
I know that they're filming pretty quickly.
So maybe next year.
Yeah, like
they're not gonna do no Stranger Things or Westworld and make you wait 3 years.
No, I don't think so.
Stranger Things, they're gonna be on walkers and canes and wheelchairs when they come back.
Right. It was interesting because I think there's been a lot of debate about how these episodic shows are being like we're gonna take a film and then just cut it up in and Kripke,
the writer he
had some
clowned
strong
him.
words.
He did.
Yeah, he's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's just ludicrous.
But he's spit number facts in that, man.
Right,
because they're doing that. Like Kenobi was done like that. These Marvel shows are done like that, and they're not meant to be done. And so many people have made that point. I'm glad that somebody that actually is working in the industry and doing the work can see it and recognize it and call it out, man. Stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was supposed to be a movie, make it a movie.
Right. Yeah, so I think all that being said, I think they're being sensible and they're just recording it early and getting it out to the folks, because, I mean, they striking while the iron's hot,
Yeah. They lost you on that Kenobi, didn't they, Van?
Oh man, listen. I've got to admit, I am. Star Wars has to win me over at this point. I can't.
You're not alone in that. There's a lot of people that feel that.
They have to win me over. They've worn out their welcome with me, particularly. I want to like it. Because I grew up with it. I'm a huge fan. I want to like it, but they need to take a cue from Star Trek. Star Trek, what they've done is that they've given you different versions of their story. They've shown you it can be done a lot of different ways. They've got an animated comedy on Star Trek. You know, you can tell different types of stories and satisfy all of your fan base. Right now, Star Wars is trying to satisfy everybody with one show, and it's like there's this fan base that we want to move on from the whole Skywalker saga and want to see what the rest of the universe looks like. And then there are this other side of the fan base, they still want that immersion in the nostalgia. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's just you can't reconcile the two. Mm-hmm. So it leaves a lot of people like myself really dissatisfied. And
yes.
And it doesn't have to be that way. They could do a comedy. They could do a spy thriller. They don't have to. They could do anything they want to do. It's an entire universe. Mm-hmm. So there's no excuse other than fear. They're just afraid that after how they fumbled the last trilogy, that they should just stick to what has worked, apparently.
And I know we get on topic. I'm sorry for even to mention.
I was going to ask something to get it back on topic, but go ahead.
But
stay off topic.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
but I'm saying it's like it's to your point, man. It's okay to do something different because other people, like you said, they have done it and it's been successful. I don't understand the fear to do so when what they've been trying to do in staying with the Skywalker saga has failed. The definition of insanity, for God's sake, it's in your best interest to change now. You're failing trying to stay true. So
there's two definitions of failure. One definition is when you watch something and you say, "Oh, I didn't like that. They failed." Another is when you look at the numbers, because despite if one thing fanboys will do is that we will be vehemently complaining about something that we're still paying for. And so it doesn't matter that they have no motivation to change. You can say you don't like it, but they know that you paid for it. They see it. So it's something's got to give something. And the thing I fear is that because eventually people do wear out and then they move on. And I would hate to see people move on and then we don't get anything that we wanted.
Well, nobody's canceling this Amazon Prime as long as The Boys is on here or Invincible is on here. Like
no doubt.
So, I've heard people talk about, well, I'll just go ahead and cancel this Disney and YouTube everything I need to know as it relates to Star Wars and the MCU, and then I'll just go to the movies. I've heard that. Like, I've heard that conversation. Nobody's saying about Amazon, and primarily because they want that free shipping. Whatever else you got going on,
Right.
So they do have that upper hand, and they do have that freedom. I almost wish, and you know what? I've said this before, and so I feel strongly about this. Disney is the wrong property. The wrong company to have this IP. They just are. I feel like they are. If they were in the hands of someone else that didn't have, as you say, Van, toys to sell, they could be The Boys, and on a grander scale with the the budget that they have, right? Like this would be Marvel and Star Wars would be amazing on Amazon, because we're gonna find out here with this this Lord of the Rings, right? They're on Amazon, right?
Correct.
They paid goo gobs of millions, and so it'll be interesting to see what Amazon can do with a well-established and popular fantasy IP such as Lord of the Rings.
Though you say they're not dependent on it, and I think that is a strength. But they will sell.
Yeah, they will.
They probably sold a bunch of
sure.
boys graphic novels. I'm
sure they will. But
coming right to your door. Right.
But if they don't sell any,
it's not a big deal. Yes, yeah.
As Van said, they're still subscribed because they still have Prime.
I'm sure somewhere in the business model,
absolutely.
For, yeah.
But so much more lends itself to importance on the Disney side with that commerce. Right. It does not as much.
Yeah. And Van, before we leave, I wanted to. We had an interesting conversation about how, like with the boys, you know, there's these fanboys out here that's thinking, okay, Homelander's a hero, and it's like, man, dude, you don't realize that
who he is.
Right? Yeah, you don't realize that. I don't want to say he's a butt of the joke, but like they're trying to illustrate, like, hey, this is not good. Here.
Yes,
this is not good for anybody.
Right?
Like, this is bad. Mm-hmm. So, and even going in, you know, I know we were, you know, dipping into other shows, but even like Star Trek, I think the question I have to ask is, people that have, it's just a weird phenomenon to me that there's people that have these prejudices and they watch properties that their mission statement is diversity or progression or whatever, and they watch these shows but then still hold on to the prejudices. And then, like, give an example, like the Homelander example, or like say Star Trek, you know, or Star Wars. Like, I don't like this black character, or, you know, this and that, you know, like, like for example, like Star Trek was built, it was written to, I guess, in response to the civil rights movement and that, you know, sort of deal, you know, like it is all that social, stuff in.
It's a social justice metaphor.
Exactly.
All the time. That's all it is. Yeah.
Right. So I just find it interesting that these people will like ride to the end for these properties, but then they still hold the prejudices that, like,
well, can I speak to that
a
little?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, man.
Yeah. Here's what you have to understand, and I'll try not to. I'm going to try not to go too far off in the weeds.
Okay,
but
go ahead, man.
This is the thing. This is the thing we have to understand about, again, capitalism. To be perfectly honest, capitalism is at the heart of that. The reason why they can feel that they can be racist on one end and still love this product. If you think back to, for instance, when watching Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, and he's talking. Spike Lee's character is talking. Mookie is talking to one of the sons from Sal's Pizzeria, and the son, he's saying, "You like Eddie Murphy, you like Michael Jordan, you like Prince." Well, yeah, but they're different. They're not like the rest of you. And the thing is, what you have to understand is the beginnings of racism, as we know it and understand it, are in capitalism. It was began
a business.
With with a business. It's a business. They need it in order for it to work.
Yes,
you have to have somebody who's of low value.
That is correct.
And you have to have somebody of high value.
That is correct.
And so that you can sell. You can't sell human beings. They've got to be something else. You got to call them something else.
Right.
And so that's what happened. And so we're still built on that same idea. The commodification of the bodies of non-white people is the foundation of everything that we have built in this country. So when you take that, and even when you take slavery away, and all you're accustomed to is that you see this body, as this black body, as a commodity, and you see these black people as a commodity. You can't think of them in any other way unless someone teaches you to think of them differently. And no one has ever taught them to think of it differently. I mean, they don't even want to teach history in history classes. So how would they ever know the difference? So what happens is you can simultaneously, on a personal level, love these black characters, love these characters who are doing these actions of social justice, love this whole thing that that has this ideology you don't support, and still at the same time carry that hate because you never see how the two are merged anyway. You don't see that the disconnect doesn't make any sense to you because you haven't been taught about it. We're not taught about it in this country. We're not taught that racism is systemic or that racism is a structure or a culture. We're taught that racism is if I don't like you, and it's interpersonal, and it's between these two people. And the truth is, it's not between these two people the majority of the time, because most of the time it can't be between us two, because I can't even come to your neighborhood.
Right. Well, it's just chilling that people watch these shows and they don't even get it. Like it's so in their face. Like I just don't understand how they just don't go, oh wait.
Because people are invested,
right?
Yeah, people are invested in them not getting it.
I see.
There's an investment in them not getting, in people, others not getting what is happening.
Right.
If all of a sudden you understood, I'll give you another example of how, and again, I know I'm going off how capitalism works. How capitalism works to keep people working against one another so that they can keep making money. Men across the country should be part of the movement to make sure that women get paid equally and get paid the money that they deserve.
Correct.
Most men do not get involved in it. They think it's a women's issue. Even men that have wives in their own homes who do not get paid. And it would increase the income in your own house if your wife got paid what she was supposed to get paid.
Absolutely.
But men never even think about it because they're just like, it's a woman thing.
Problem.
And that's what they're taught. That's what capitalism teaches you. Because capitalism wants you to think that, so that way, if you go along with it in your own house, if she got to fight in her own house, she can't fight against the corporation. Yeah, and that's how it works. It's what keeps hospitals closed in rural counties, is that they're saying, well, those people, you know who those people are. Those people are going to get free stuff if you allow Obamacare or you allow these additional measures to come through into your city. And there are hospitals being closed all across the country in rural counties where these people voted against their own interests, and they're dying.
Yeah, that's correct. Wow. Cognitive dissonance.
And all of that is, and all of it is business as usual.
Yes.
It's the idea is that you make them think that it's for you too. That the power is yours. That's what these people that see Homelander killing these people. They don't think he's killing people like me. They think he's killing them for me.
Right. The smartest man in Tennessee. Yeah. In the South.
Man, thank you,
I
man.
can expand that to the South. Sir, I don't know that we can end on anything other than that.
Yes.
ESC 1982 podcast is the Facebook and the Instagram location. Patreon.com/ESC1982 podcast. Yes, we thank all patrons who have pledged their money as well as their time to this endeavor. We thank you so much. Sometimes your time is actually more important than your money to you, and we appreciate that you spend the time listening to something that we enjoy doing, and hope that we do well enough to continue receiving your support. Van, again, man, thank you again for making everybody who is listening smarter. You ought to do voiceover work. Also,
I do occasionally when I can get it. When I can get it, I do some voiceover work.
Okay.
I do recognize that me railing against capitalism doesn't exactly boost my resume, though.
No, it doesn't. I like a good capitalism hate rant. I enjoy it. I enjoy it because especially if it's truth. I mean,
I enjoy it too. But you gotta remember, you've heard my show. I talk about a lot of things that can be hot button topics, and from time to time, that can make some people squirm a tad.
That's all right. That means it's working. That mean you telling the truth. Right. I'm telling you. So yeah, keep telling that truth.
But they can't separate it because it's like, well, we're just doing voiceover for soda. like we're not talking about anything. Right. The script is right here.
Come on, man, Sprite, dog, Sprite. We talking about Sprite.
Right. It's hip hop.
Oh my God, man, Van, thank you so much again, man.
As always, man, it's a pleasure. I enjoy you guys. Love the show and love to get the chance to talk about stuff that otherwise I don't get a chance to talk about on my show. That often.
Sir.
So,
yes, sir. Yes,
and we gotta have you back with Wish Kid in the house. So.
Yeah.
No doubt. I look forward to meeting him.
Yes.
All right. Once again, man, thank you everybody for your support, and we will holler at you.